You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Now let's talk about the quarterback revelation that happened on the Hill this season. And trust me, there will be plenty of future podcasts on Locked On Syracuse going over the quarterback situation for Syracuse because Kyle McCord, whether he plays the bowl game or not, he's out of eligibility. So he cannot return to Syracuse next season. Thank you so much, Ryan Day, for burning his red shirt. So in the second half of a meaningless game, thank you so much. As much as we want to send a bottle of champagne to him, he did burn a year of his eligibility for no reason. That's neither here nor there, though. I mean, he would have an extra year, but whatever. But let's talk about the quarterback revelation that is Kyle McCord. If you are a quarterback, this is something that I referenced in the postgame yesterday. If you're a quarterback, transfer portal, high school recruit, ask yourself this question. Why wouldn't you want to come to Syracuse? We're going to start with Kyle McCord for a second here because it's very important to the story. And look at what Syracuse did with him. Just think about it for a second. I believed in Kyle McCord heading into the year. In fact, my preseason prediction was that Kyle McCord would finish second team All ACC. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see a record year coming at all. Kyle McCord holds the single season Syracuse record for yards with 4,326. By the way, he's the first 4,000-yard passer in Syracuse football history. The all-time record for touchdowns in a single season at 29 and completions with 367. If I were to have told you before the year that Kyle McCord would do 80% of that, you would have signed on the dotted line. Wouldn't you? 80% of that production, I think we all would have taken it, and it would have certainly been a fine year. He gave us everything we could have hoped for and more this season. And we'll see how the NFL evaluates him. They can be kind of finicky with how they evaluate anybody, but especially quarterbacks. They're not always right. A lot of times they are. We'll see how it is. But I think it's fair to say he went from going into the year, maybe he gets drafted. He'll probably get a shot at training camp, right? Maybe he'll get a combine invite because he's from Ohio State and, to now where there's no doubt in my mind he's getting drafted. It's just a matter of where he gets drafted. That's the question. I don't know how the NFL is going to evaluate him, but if they don't draft him, I think that's a foolish mistake. And whoever gets him as an undrafted free agent is in for a treat. McCord was good at Ohio State, contrary to popular belief heading into the season, but he was even better at Syracuse. And he was developed properly. I talked about in the first segment here of how the staff, they built a system designed perfectly for their personnel on offense. They looked at Kyle McCord and they said, how can we elevate him? Okay, well, maybe we don't have the best offensive line in the world, so we're probably going to need to utilize a short passing game. Okay, Kyle McCord's an accurate guy. He can do that. How do we maximize a guy like Trevor Pena? How do we maximize a guy like Jackson Meeks? What about Oronde Gadsden? They maximized all that talent. This coaching staff deserves a ton of credit, not just Kyle McCord. So on top of the advantages, though, of just being developed, coming to Syracuse, you're playing in a dome. That's a huge advantage. There's no weather in a dome. None. It's a little bit different playing at Syracuse than Ohio State. At Syracuse, there's no weather. There's no elements. You're playing 8 games a year in a dome. You're going to look pretty good. At Ohio State, by the time you get to November, it's cold. It's cold outside. It can be windy. You don't look as good all of a sudden. So, hey, Syracuse has an advantage, the fact that they play in a dome. You also know, and I just hit on this, you also know that you're going to play for a staff that's going to elevate you. They're going to take what you do well and say, let's just do more of that. What do you do well? When we talk about transfer portal options for Syracuse football, because I believe inevitably they're going to go in the portal for a quarterback, regardless of whether it's for a starter or if it's for a backup, they're going to do something in the portal. I'm not necessarily worried about them because I believe that this staff will build a scheme designed around what the quarterback can do. And if you come to Syracuse, you're going to be developed nicely, and you can count on the weapons around you being developed nicely. Look at Trevor Pena and Jackson Meeks. Go look at their career numbers heading into this season, and then go look at their numbers this season. And these are not guys who are, freshmen last year who, because they got a little bit older, a little bit more experience, now all of a sudden they're great college football players. Nope, they've been around college football for a while. But they broke out this season. Good quarterback play certainly helps. They had a quarterback who can get them the ball, but also they had a staff that's going to develop everyone nicely. So if you're a quarterback and you're maybe watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, why not Syracuse? I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to come here. You want to go to the NFL? Well, Kyle McCord's going to go to the NFL. He is. And that was not a guarantee when he was at Ohio State that he was going to be in the NFL. He was at Ohio State, and it wasn't a guarantee. Quarterback revelation. I think Syracuse might have become a popular destination for quarterbacks now. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, but I think this is a great spot to be if you are a quarterback. You're playing in a dome. You're going to be developed nicely. The weapons around you are going to be developed nicely. Why not Syracuse?